You get your notice of allowance, you want to mark the date, you got 6 months to file a proof of use, and if you're not ready by the 6-month time frame, you want to file for what's called an extension and buy yourself another 6 months. In today's video, we are going to be discussing one of the essential steps of the trademark registration process, which is receiving a notice of allowance and taking that notice of allowance all the way to the registration phase. So let's get right into it. Now, the notice of allowance phase is a very important and beneficial development for any trademark application. Once you receive a notice of allowance from the Trademark Office, from the United States Patent and Trademark Office, it signifies that your trademark has crossed all the hurdles and has met all the requirements for trademark registration in the United States, provided you do these couple of more things to get the actual registration. But that's going to be on you. You've cleared all the regulatory hurdles, essentially. So what do you have to do once after you get a notice of allowance? Now, first of all, you have to understand that a notice of allowance is not the same thing as a certificate of registration. Your trademark is not yet registered. You can't use the Circle R notice. You're not a registered trademark. There's no registration number. You just received a notice of allowance. The notice of allowance basically says, hey, guess what? Your trademark is eligible for registration, provided you do these two things. Number one, show proof that you're using the trademark in the marketplace. And number two, pay this additional filing fee that's required with showing proof. Okay. So the filing fee is simple. You'll pay that, no problem. What is it about showing proof, right? So showing proof means that you have to demonstrate and essentially show evidence to the Trademark Office that you're not squatting on this trademark and that you're actually in business under this trademark, right? So if you're filed a trademark for, let's say, a t-shirt, for example, a t-shirt company, right? Then you would show as proof evidence of your trademarked t-shirts, your branded t-shirts available for purchase and actually sold via either wholesale, at retail and point of retail in a brick and mortar store, or online. You got to just show sales. That's basically what you got to do if you're a t-shirt company. Let's say you filed a trademark in connection with a wine brand and you're starting your own wine brand. Well, as proof of sales, again, you got to show that there's wine that's available in the marketplace. The label has your trademark on it and that you're selling them. However wine is sold, whether it's going to be at stores, online, however you're selling wine. So this is for almost all companies, right? Let's say you have filed a trademark in connection with a mobile application software that's going to be launching on the Apple App Store, right? So when you get your notice of allowance, you want to demonstrate to the Trademark Office that your app is now live and available for download by the masses in the United States. So that's kind of the requirements here for this specimen, or what's called the proof of use, showing that you want to show that the business that you've selected in your original trademark application, right? The goods and services that you've selected are actually the goods and services that you're offering in the marketplace. The brand that you mentioned at the top of your application when you first filed your application is actually the brand that's being used in connection with these goods and services, and that you're available and selling the goods or services in the marketplace, and that finally you're doing business in the United States, right? So if you're a foreign applicant and also doing business in another foreign country, that's not going to qualify. It's got to be business that's being sold to United States customers. You do all that, you pay the filing fee, you get your certificate of registration, and you're good to go. Now, there's another kind of component here for the notice of allowance, which is the timeline. When you receive a notice of allowance, there's going to be an official date on the top of the notice of allowance document. That date is very important because that date starts a 6-month clock from which you have time to show your proof of use. Okay. Now, things take time when it comes to startups. If you're launching a mobile app, for example, there may be setbacks and you might need 2 additional months, for example, to get the app ready so that you can go live with it and show the evidence proof of use. So you want to keep this 6-month timeline frame in your brain. You want to calendar it. And if you're coming up to the 6-month deadline and still not ready to show your proof of use, well, guess what? You have an option to file what's called an extension request. And you can file an extension request, pay a small filing fee, and buy yourself an additional 6 months. And you can do this 5 times. Essentially buy yourself 36 months of extensions. But on the 3-year anniversary of your Notice of Allowance date. And again, that date is very important. End all be all, you gotta have shown that you're in market. You can't squat on the trademark forever. You have a 3-year window max, provided you pay all the filing fees for the extensions and you do it timely. You have a 3-year window to get to the registration phase. So again, just to summarize, when you get your Notice of Allowance, you want to mark the date. You got 6 months to file a proof of use, and if you're not ready by the 6-month time frame, you want to file for what's called an extension and buy yourself another 6 months. Now, this can't go on forever. You only have 5 extensions available. And at some point, you want to show what's called proof of use so that your trademark can be fully registered in the United States Patent and Trademark Office. I hope this was helpful to you. And if it was, make sure to like and subscribe to Tip Top Startups on YouTube and Instagram. I'm David Nima, your host of the Tip Top Startups podcast, and I will see you in the next video.